back to the channel, everyone. Today, we'll be talking about an essential accessory for all AR builds, the weapon light. Up on the block today is the Inforce WML Gen 2. In this video, we'll be discussing the general specifications along with what we like and dislike about this weapon light. If you're on the search for a budget-friendly PDW weapon light, make sure you stick around for this video to find out everything you need to know about this light. If you aren't already, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because it really does help us out. But that's enough of that, let's get into the review.
Alright, as usual, let's start with the basics. The WML Gen 2 is a compact and lightweight weapon light. Weighing in at just 3.2 ounces with the battery, you'll barely notice the added weight to your firearm. It measures out to just about 3 inches in length, so I'd say it's the ideal weapon light for a PDW build. This light does not come with a pressure pad, but is instead activated by this button on the back. The light is powered by a single CR123A battery and has about a lifespan of an hour and a half of continuous usage. And for the adventurous type out there that like to go for a swim with their firearm, this is waterproof up to 66 feet. Now, in talking about the price, I would say this is on the higher end of budget weapon lights, being that it's just under $120, but I think you really get what you pay for here. Now, let's move on to how this light actually works. The light has two modes that can be changed by flipping this switch back and forth. When switched to the rear position, the light functions in a momentary on mode where you press to turn on and release to turn off. When you switch the light over to the front position, which is also signified by this white line, it now goes into continuous on mode, which allows you to press once to turn on the light and once again to turn it off. The light also has a strobe option when it's in the continuous on mode, and that's activated by double tapping the light and it stays on until you press it off. Additionally, you can also use the momentary on mode while it's in this continuous mode by pressing down for a time greater than 1 second and then releasing. If you just press down quickly, it'll just turn on. Now moving on to the button itself. The button is made out of rubber and features this nice contour that'll fit to your thumb pretty well. I will say the button's a little stiffer than I'd like, whereas if you don't press it right here in the center, it takes a little extra oomph to actually get it to turn on. The light is mounted using their tool-free clamp design, but it does require a Picatinny rail to latch onto. This light does not attach to M-LOK or Keymod without adding a Picatinny rail first. The light is installed by first loosening the clamp by twisting this thumb wheel, then applying pressure to the sides to open the clamp, then placing it on your rail where desired, and finishing up the installation process by retightening the wheel. I personally love the toolless design that they're using. It's sturdy and extremely easy to remove this and adjust it or put it on a different firearm. Now let's talk about the performance of this light. The WML is a 400 lumen light, as well as having a candela count of 4,000. While 400 lumens is on the low end for a weapon light, I don't think that matters too much if your intended use is for home defense. Chances are you're not going to run into any issues unless you're trying to use this at a really far distance outside, or you have a mansion like Jeff Bezos. I'm rich, bitch! Inforce claims that this light can illuminate up to 413 feet, which I'd say is pretty close to accurate. Up to around 300 feet, this light performs exactly the way it needs to in terms of illumination and identifying targets. But since my main reason for purchasing this was for home defense inside, this light will allow you to efficiently identify your target as well as simultaneously blinding them. Additionally, the light has two ways of locking it out when you don't want to use it. First, you could disable the light by turning the front bezel 1/4 of a turn, and it'll make it so it doesn't turn on anymore. You can also lock out the light by flipping up this safety on the front, which doesn't really allow you to get a grip to press it down, but if you really wanted to, you can get in there. Now, there's a lot of talk about the reliability of these lights. I know the Gen 1 WML had a lot of issues with bulbs flickering or just appearing dim overall. With the Gen 2, I feel like they addressed a good bit of those issues. I haven't had any flickering bulbs, any issues with it dimming. Granted, I've only been using this light for about 6 months, so that may change over time. One thing that's kind of a downside for me is the height of this light. The light's almost 2 inches tall when mounted on a rail. While it does have a lower profile than most weapon lights, it still will be a slight obstruction in your sight picture on a 1.41 inch riser mount like my Romeo 5 has. You could solve this by getting a taller riser mount for your sight, but that in itself has its own pros and cons. Overall, this light is a fantastic budget option for a PDW build. The lightweight design, ease of use, and functional versatility make this a great budget weapon light. However, for a full-size rifle, this definitely wouldn't be one of my choices unless I was trying to make an extremely lightweight build. But like I said before, on any PDW build with limited rail space, it does the job great.
And that's all we have for this one, everybody. If you made it this far into the video, we really appreciate you sticking around. We hope you learned everything you wanted to know about the Inforce WML Gen 2. Let us know in the comments what your favorite weapon light is. We might just end up reviewing it. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button because it really does help us grow as a channel. As always, everyone, stay safe and have fun shooting.